What this is saying is the glory of God is, don't let it be hidden. Don't not accept the truth about yourself to be hidden by this false humility that we have. This idea of humbling ourselves to say I'm not worthy of God's love doesn't do you any good if God's saying you are worthy. Why would we want to do the opposite of what he tells us is the truth? Now, why it is not something that we should feel is arrogance is he's saying if it's true for you, it's true for everybody. It's not just true for you. If we're saying the glory of God my Father is my own, he's saying it's that for every child of God who walks this earth. So accepting this, and you might say that people might have trouble accepting it, or you might have trouble accepting it. There are times when some of us might feel better about accepting it, and as we accept it for everyone. That's this whole idea, as we begin to light this awareness within our minds. It doesn't just benefit us, it benefits the entire world. Just as one person makes a difference, one person beginning to shift their consciousness away from hate and anger and judgment makes an incredible difference in the world. It lights the world. The other day, our son, we were talking about, Martin Luther King birthday, his birthday that was on Monday, and we'd gone to see Selma, and we were talking about civil rights. And it's interesting to me that, I was talking with Frank about this, the slaves were freed back during Lincoln, 1865. About 100 years later, before they actually had the freedom that I think Lincoln had envisioned, or what freeing the slaves was about, and then still, even after that, it has taken a long time. But think about that. It's a long time to really achieve civil rights. Now, and we were talking about that with our son. I said, look how long it took. It took a long time. And then we were talking about gay rights, and because that's a big thing they talk about a lot in high school. He's a sophomore in high school. They talk about that a lot in high school. He says, I don't care what if people are gay or lesbians or bisexual or transgender, what difference does it make? He says, people are people. And I said, well, see, that's a very progressive thought. And I said, we're seeing that there's a big change happening in civil rights for the gay and lesbian community. And I said, that's incredible. I said, but you know what? We might look back and say, what a shame it took 100 years for blacks to have those civil rights, for race relations to get to this place. But I said, the people who are gaining civil rights now may not be still fast enough for them, but the gay and lesbian community stand on the shoulders of those that did it before them. So it's going to go quicker for all of us. It took 100 years for those civil rights. Gay rights are going to go quicker, and the next time something comes up, it's going to go quicker because we're going to realize there is no separation between people. We are all equal, and we all deserve the same rights. Those rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When you think about what our forefathers put into our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, that we are to experience life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. What a great thing to put in, the pursuit of happiness. That your life is not just about struggle. Your life is about experiencing the fullness of who you are, experiencing that joy. And that's what this lesson is about. We cannot know when we diminish who we are. You are and that phone is going to tell us, you are the glory of my Father. The glory of my Father is my own. This glory that abides within God abides within me, and let's not hide it in false humility. Goes on to that second line, says, let us instead be thankful for the gifts our Father gave to us. Now, we don't always experience those gifts. Sometimes we choose not to open the gift. We just want to look at it and say, isn't that pretty? Glory be to God, but I don't feel that. It's time for us to open it up. It means it's time for us to feel it. It's time for us to let it find a place within our hearts. And some days we're going to feel good about it, and some days we're not going to feel very worthy of it. But the Course is always telling us that when you allow healing to come, whether you feel it right now or not, you will feel it. The moment that you open up to the truth, the gift has been given you. That can never be taken away. Some days we choose to accept it fully, and other days we do not. When Jeffrey was a little boy, I remember this so vividly. He was busy on the computer, and he very little, but he wanted to play on the computer. He typed up a little thing, and I heard him hit the printer, and the paper came out. How you can hear paper coming out of the printer, And then he was in there on the scissors. I could hear the scissors cutting, and then I could hear the tape dispenser. And I would say, "What are you doing in there? Don't come in here, don't come in here." And I could hear the tape dispenser and the snapping off the tape. And then he went running into our bedroom, and he closed the door, and he taped something up. And then he came running back, and he said, "Go in your bedroom and close the door." And so I went in the bedroom, I closed my door, and there was this little thing he typed out, "I love you, Mom." And he taped it on with it's still there. I mean, he must have done that when he was 6, and I haven't taken it off that door, which tells you about my cleaning habits. I don't clean real quick. But no, I will not take that off because I love it there. It's this little reminder that he loves me. Now, some days I look at it and I smile and I remember the day. And some days I pass right by it and I don't care about it. And some days I, totally ignore it. Some days I really see it. It's always there, though. I love you, Mom. Some days I want to believe it, some days I don't. But it's always there. I love you, Mom. And I think that's the same thing that this lesson is telling us about God. Let us instead be thankful for the gifts our Father has given to us. Some days we're going to accept them and see them, and some days we're not, but they're still there. Some days we fully embrace them, and some days we don't. But it's always there. So that's what it reminds me of. God's gifts to us, his glory, that truth is always there within our lives, whether we embrace it or not. Now, when we embrace it, we get the joy of it. When I really look at that little thing, I'm reminded of just the sweetness. And I must be worthy of that sweetness. But when I choose not to, when I choose to ignore it, then I don't know who I am, or I don't know the fullness of myself.